consultant. You get Bob Quinn. He comes from the Patriots organization. He's this young executive that's going to turn everything around. And he's done everything exactly the same way the GMs before him have done it.
I know. It's been horrible. The thing that's really the worst thing for me about this list is look at who's second. The second best is Kevin Colbert, the Steelers. He used to work for the Lions, and they couldn't keep him. That to me is tragic.
Just so you know, Stoney, number one on the list is Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
He too used to work for the Lions.
Well, okay, but that was so. I'm not going to give whatever. I believe is this Mitch? You're 97 on the ticket.
Good morning, fellas. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Hey, Mitch.
My biggest problem with Bob Quinn is the fact that what you said, Sonny, I thought hit it on the nail. You don't seem to know enough about football if you don't think that getting defensive linemen and rushing more than 3 people. You know, you hired a guy who has never been a head coach in his life, not even on a high school level. You fired a guy who had won a Super Bowl as a head coach, who had won Super Bowls as offensive coordinator.
He got these Super Bowls as head coach. He didn't win it, but he did win as an offensive coordinator. Yes.
Right, but my whole point is, didn't he deal with Peyton Manning? Am I wrong about that?
No, they lost the Super Bowl to the Saints.
Right, and then Manning left, and he was stuck with Dan Orlovsky.
Okay, my mistake. But even that point to me, Peyton Manning couldn't win anything before Caldwell. He couldn't win in college. He couldn't win any playoff games prior to Caldwell.
Hold on, let's not put Jim Caldwell in the Hall of Fame here. I personally...
Okay. The reason I do is because every quarterback he's working with has gotten better, and when he left, they didn't do as well. Joe Flacco, Peyton Manning, Matthew Stafford, even though Matthew Stafford got another coordinator now, he's doing better. I'm just saying, when Caldwell was here, he was playing on an MVP level. If he didn't break his finger that year, they probably win a division and would have won the playoff. And that was with a terrible team around that.
I just thought Caldwell got this team to a certain level, and you couldn't get him any further. The problem is not getting rid of Jim Caldwell, my friend. The problem is what they replaced him. That was the problem, and that's all Bob Quinn.
And I agree with that too, but I agree with that too. It's not just spoken. It's like the man just said, personality. I remember one person said that he was protecting himself. He turned the door because he didn't stop nothing. So Houston wanted to get rid of him. Seattle's not right on him. Bob Quinn doesn't do anything. He doesn't go to him. He doesn't go to town. He doesn't go to anybody who can really help you.
Mitch, what about just the moves, and whether it's Patricia or whether it's Quinn? Like Quandre Diggs, good football player. You thought he was. You signed him to an extension. You trade him away for a 5th-round pick. Golden Tate, good football player. Trade him away for a 3rd-round pick. Darius Slay, your best defensive player, you let go for nothing. It makes no sense. I know they traded him, but the moves he makes are just not. If there was one move, if there was one plan, if there was one direction, I think we'd all say, okay, maybe give it a little more time, but it's everywhere. As far as Caldwell is concerned, like, I thought he should have been fired, and now I want him back in the worst way, and I was wrong.
It's kind of like people felt about Wayne Fonts. Our telephone number is 248-539-9797. Jim Leland will join us at 7:18. We'll talk opening day with Ron Gardenhire at 8:02-97-1 The Ticket.
97.1 The Ticket. Traffic.
From the WWJ AM 950 Traffic Center, this report brought to you by Buff Wayland Chevrolet. On around Monroe County, 75 northbound before 275. All lanes are blocked due to an accident. There's a backup now from North Dixie Highway. You can use Telegraph or even Dixie Highway as an alternate. Also 94 eastbound at Van Dyke in Detroit. A wreck is blocking the right shoulder. Hurry into Buff Wayland Chevrolet and see why they're #1 volume Chevy dealer in the USA for the last 3 years. Buff Wayland Chevrolet, 17.5 in Van Dyke and Sterling Heights. Call 800
Now, text or call the ticket using the same number. Ticket text 248-539-9797. This radio.com
David.com Sports Minute is brought to you by Hall Financial. Go to davidhallmortgage.com.
This is Boomer Esiason with the Radio.com Sports Minute. After a record 266-day hiatus, last night we finally heard those two glorious words, play ball. There were pandemic reminders everywhere. From empty stands to Dr. Anthony Fauci throwing out the first pitch. Then, with Aaron Judge aboard, Giancarlo Stanton crushed a Max Scherzer first-inning pitch 459 feet to left center. And was all Garrett Cole needed in his Yankees debut. The 29-year-old right-hander paid the first dividends on his 9-year, $324 million contract by striking out 5 and allowing only a walk and an Adam Eaton solo homer. The Bombers led 4-1 in the top of the sixth inning when the skies opened, and boy did they. Following a 1-hour and 58-minute rain delay, the game was called. Prior to the game, MLB and the Players Association agreed to expand this year's postseason from 10 to 16 teams, and I wholeheartedly agree. That's great.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference. Like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call clickgrainger.com to stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Get ready for a toll-free hotline. Take advantage of new IRS tax forgiveness programs. Call Civic Tax Relief for free information now. Find out about the Fresh Start program that is now available through Civic Tax Relief. Civic Tax Relief's special tax hotline can help you discover all the relief programs you qualify for
pandemic, I say you do it. Although I will say this is the only global pandemic I've lived through. But I believe that's the case. But Stoney, listen, it's 60 games, man. Like you, and I don't want to speak for you, but this is what I perceive you thinking. You still want to keep the tradition in baseball, even though it's been slimmed down to a 60-game season. Like you still want how we used to play baseball. When me, I want all the craziness possible because I'm just crazy, I guess. But why not go for 16 teams? Why not give some fan bases the chance to really enjoy playoff baseball? And it's going to be 3-game series, too.
But first...
So the first seed, the best team in baseball, is going to have a chance to pick who they want to play. It's going to be pretty awesome.
Well, it's going to be the first 2 teams in each division make it. That's 12. Okay, so in each league, so that's 6. Then the teams with the best, next 2 best records will be the wild card, and will be a best of 3. And then the winners will advance, and it'll be best of 5, and then 2 best of 7s. I understand that. I think there's an ulterior motive here, besides just keeping some fan bases interested. What this does is pretty much ensure
that good teams make it.
That the Dodgers and the Yankees, the big market teams, one of the Chicago teams is going to make it. And I just think it's not as altruistic as you want to believe that it is for the fans and all that. I just think it's big market stuff. And here's the other thing, because I was debating this a little bit online, and when somebody go boomer, it's nothing to do with that. I don't mind the wild card. What bothers me about this is I don't like, and I'm granted this year is different, and I don't like it with the NHL, and I don't like it with the NBA per se, where one of the cool things about baseball and football is, you know what? Half the teams don't make the playoffs. I mean, here there's 30 baseball teams and 16 are going to make the playoffs.
Perfect. There's a couple things. You should be happy we have baseball. The fact that it actually happened. I mean, you got COVID, and you had the fact that the negotiations were pathetic. And I never thought we were going to have baseball to begin with. So the fact that we actually watched 2 live baseball games yesterday that mattered in the standings, I mean, you can't beat that to begin with.
Yes.
However, you need to get over things need to be like they used to be. They're not. We're lucky to have this, so just enjoy it. Eat it up.
I am
and
enjoying
the more craziness, the better. No, you're not. You're upset that there's 16 games. Or 16 teams, rather.
Because I don't think it's going to make a difference. It's not going to take away my enjoyment of baseball.
The other thing, too, is this, while you're right, it guarantees pretty much a good team's not going to miss the postseason, which baseball would look pretty bad if the Dodgers get off to a slow start and miss the postseason. I get that. But it also will give the Royals fan base something to watch for, the Tigers fan base, the Marlins fan base. I mean, let's go on and on. Baseball always has 7 or 8 teams that can actually make the postseason. The rest stink. Well, all those other teams that stink, they got a shot. I think it's...
I'm not one of these guys who are stuck in the mud. I talked about, they're expanding the NFL class, 1 team in each conference. I'm for that. More playoff football is always good, but keeping it to a limit. I just think granted, you can argue and say, well, the season's been, for lack of a better word, bastardized anyway, so who cares if you bastardize the playoffs? I just have this sneaky feeling that, there's going to be a lot more money with the playoffs this year. Even though COVID's gone, next year, 2021, we'll keep 16 teams in the playoffs.
Stoney, would that be the worst thing in the world?
No, I'm not saying it's not the worst thing.
No, and I know it's not the worst thing in the world. Don't be so literal. But would that be bad? Think about how many teams are out by late June, early July. There are very few things in sports that is worse than watching a season like the Tigers went through last year. Now, not the Tigers will make the postseason, but to keep a team and a fan base involved in August, if that means giving you 16 playoff teams, I love that. I think the more the merrier. Let's roll. I think it's a great idea. And if the owners make more
with the Tigers, who will begin the 2020 Major League Baseball season tonight when they square off against the Reds in Cincinnati. Matthew Boyd will start Game 1 for Detroit. Reds will counter with Sonny Gray, who won 11 games and posted a .287 ERA for Cincinnati last season.
I mean, to be an opening day start, especially in this circumstance, just kind of, I know, I try to put myself in that moment. It's going to be an important day. It's going to be a fun game to play.
Have the game right here on the ticket, beginning with the pregame show at 5:45. Officials with the NFL and its players union set to meet again today as the issue of how to deal with the lost revenue from the upcoming 2020 season will be on the table once again. Owners want to deal in place with the union by the end of this weekend, or else they'll delay the start of training camps, which are scheduled to open on Tuesday. Interview with Yahoo Sports, former Ohio State head coach Urban Meyer says that if college football is moved from the fall to the spring, the top players should skip playing this season. Meyer says it's not in the players' best interest physically to play a full college football season that runs from January until April, then be ready to take part in an NFL minicamp in May. Denny Hamlin holds off a late charge from Brad Keselowski to win last night's NASCAR race in Kansas. A back injury has forced Dustin Johnson, currently ranked number 4 in the latest world golf rankings, to drop out of the PGA Tour's 3M Open in Minnesota. Mike Tyson is ending his retirement. He's scheduled to battle Roy Jones Jr. in an 8-round exhibition bout that will take place September 12th in California. The 52-year-old Tyson retired after losing to Kevin McBride 15 years ago. From the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Tony Ortiz. For more, stay tuned to 97.1 The Ticket and radio.com.
Thank you, Gio. Jim Leland will join us at 7:18. It's time for Heather and News. Good morning, Heather.
Good morning, Stoney. Good morning, Rieger. So, police say a Harper Woods man used a fake face and other disguises to pull off this $100,000 casino heist. This is a really wild story. So, they say this investigation actually began in May of last year, and it alleges that this man, John Coletti, he operated this scheme to steal victims' identities by buying their personal information online, and then he would make these fake driver's licenses. And then, with these fake driver's licenses, he would target casino patrons who were enrolled in one of those VIP programs, and then he would basically go to those kiosks in the casino that would allow him to obtain cash advances right there from the kiosk. And because the kiosks are monitored by cameras, he then went undercover, and he would use these really, really elaborate disguises. He would use full prosthetic faces, and he had numerous faces, not just one, several faces, hats and glasses. He'd wear the surgical masks during the pandemic, and he defrauded at least 10 victims out of almost $100,000 at the MGM Grand in Detroit.
And he also did some other casinos as well, like in Missouri or Kansas.
He was arrested in Kansas, where he was basically doing the same exact thing. And when they searched his rental car that he had, they found 4 prosthetic faces. They found 83 driver's license, 14 insurance cards in multiple names, counterfeit $100 bills, and a book on how to get away with committing crimes.
I'm telling you, hey, it's a great movie. Somebody's going to make a movie out of this.
This is insane.
I know.
A book about how to get away with committing crimes? Is that the title of it?
Yeah, I don't know. That's my favorite part.
That's like a bank robber get pulled over with a book, how to commit bank robberies.
So wild. Okay, listen to this, you guys. Lion kicker Matt Prater could win Detroiters a round of free beer. So this is how it all started. So Bud Light was originally going to run this promotion for Denver Broncos kicker Brandon McManus. And what he was going to do was give away free beer to everyone in Denver when he broke the NFL's record for longest field goal.
Yeah, it's really a really cool thing that they're going to do for people in Denver. And they were talking about it on the Pat McAfee show, and for the brand or whatever it's called. And McAfee was talking about McManus, how he's a great guy, and all this kind of stuff. But McAfee, of course, a former kicker, had to say something about our guy. There's a man who has a touchdown pass in Lambeau Field. There's a man who is a legend off the field. There is a man who is 5'10". He doesn't have like a Greek god build, but for whatever reason, whenever he goes on the field for the long ball, it is expected to be going through, and he is the man who currently holds the NFL's longest field goal record at 64 yards, and that's Matt Prater of the Detroit Lions. And he said, "Excuse me, Bud Light, I heard what we're trying to do over there in Denver with the free Bud Lights for everybody, and I like that Denver, which is a town that smokes a awesome amount of marijuana, and they would definitely love a free beer." But what happens to this city? What happens to the Motor City? What happens to Detroit Rock City? What happens to the city that might be getting CPR in it because the Ford Bronco is back? What happens to the people of Detroit when I break my own record of 64 yards? And Bud Light, by the way, has yet to answer. Answer our guy, Matty Brady.
Except now, Bud Light has answered, of course. So now they've changed the promotion altogether, and it's basically the kicker who makes the longest field goal in 2020 will win free beer for their city.
Nice. Raiders got a good chance. So does Justin Tucker of the Ravens as well. There's a few. Yes, exactly.
You know, Prater's got a great chance. You want to know why? Because that Lions offense stalls better than most of them. Better than the rest of them.
Yes, but McManus does have an advantage because he plays in the rarefied air of Denver. Where Prater,
is that right?
Oh yeah, where Prater. That's where.
Is it a mile high?
That's where McManus.
No, I know. I was trying to make a joke. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I apologize. Anytime anybody brings up Denver, they always talk about the air. You know, the altitude over there, it's really hard to catch your breath. Sorry. Failed attempt on my part. I apologize.
So it appears Washington's NFL team won't have a new logo anytime soon. So the franchise announced on Thursday that it will call itself the Washington Football Team for the 2020 season, as it basically just continues to finalize a new name and a new logo. They did say, of course, hey, we're going to keep the burgundy and gold